Back. Now, the Eastern Cape Liquor Board is launching a campaign to combat underage drinking at 20 high schools in the Buffalo City Metro. This follows the devastating Mgwebi Tavern incident in June, in which 21 young people died. Let's discuss this further. We're joined by Mgwebi Msiya from the Eastern Cape Liquor Board. Mr. Msiya, thank you very much for your time here on all angles. Of course, we know that this comes on the back of that tragedy, but I guess that also taught us a lesson that more needs to be done to protect children from abuse, the abuse of alcohol, etc. So just explain to me, you mentioned that it's 20 schools in the Buffalo City area. What exactly will officials be doing to educate these pupils?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us on your show. Look, as you have correctly indicated in your introduction, Baseko, we are intensifying our efforts at the Eastern Cape Liquor Board to curb underage drinking in the Eastern Cape. So the concept of the ambassadorship that we have recently introduced, which we launched yesterday in Buffalo City, is where we're seeking to encourage young people to, in fact, to introduce the peer-to-peer kind of education, where young people will be, empowering each other, raising awareness amongst each other. What we've done through this concept is to say, out of the 22 schools that 20 schools that we've identified in Buffalo City, each school must then nominate 4 learners that will become ambassadors of the Eastern Cape Liquor Board messages. So these are the learners that will, from time to time, conduct, make presentations to other learners within their schools, educating them about, the dangers of the scourge of underage drinking and so on. So essentially what we're trying to do here is to empower young people to become messengers of the underage drinking.
Are you hoping that something like this will probably also just be added in the life orientation curriculum, if it's not added, or maybe more information, if it is part of the curriculum, maybe more information should be taken from the liquor board in terms of educating these pupils during LO, which I think is compulsory?
Yes, that is a request that we have actually submitted to the school, to the schools, to say if perhaps they could also consider making sure that, the issue of underage drinking and generally alcohol abuse becomes part of the life orientation, program of the schools. So that is basically what we're looking for, so that this message permeates, the entire school system. Everyone within the school is really, exposed to these messages, because really, the issue of underage drinking is a great concern for all of us. That is why we are pulling all stops as the Eastern Cape Liquor Board to ensure that at least we capacitate young people to start with, but also importantly, we want to go back to the community, because remember, Moseko, when these young ones go back to the community, they go back to the elderly people who continue to misbehave, who continue to abuse alcohol, who continue to sell alcohol to young people. So we're saying, whilst we're intensifying, our campaign within the school environment, we still also want to take responsibility to extend our messages to the community, to the broader society. That is why yesterday we invited even parents to be part of the launch, so that they could also start to collaborate with us as parents, so that they could also start to be role models within the community. So basically, I think our concern is that communities, we are not convinced that they are doing enough, Moseko, to support, the initiative of curbing underage drinking, but more importantly as well, alcohol abuse within the broader society.
Did the Mgwebi tragedy possibly show the liquor board that it needs to be more than just a board? Maybe it needs to be more visible in the community?
Yes, indeed, Mosako. It really showed us, and it gave us a lot of lessons, I must say. One, that really this is the problem that we cannot, solve on our own as the Eastern Cape Liquor Board. We need to bring on board a broader spectrum of stakeholders, so that together we can collectively, deal with this social problem. So it really showed us, that we need to mobilize extensively community-based organizations, civil society, everyone. Because, what we are saying again, Museko, is that it will not assist us to blame, one another on the issue of underage drinking in the country generally. Each stakeholder, each sector has to play, its own part in terms of alleviating this challenge within our society. So we are inviting every stakeholder in this thinking to say, please come on board. Let us all deal with this problem. This is an embedded social problem in our society. It requires all of us. Also, ensuring that we dig deeper, Mosaka, to understand what are the underlying circumstances that reinforce this kind of behavior within our communities. So that is why we're saying everybody must come on board. Yesterday, we had liquor traders, we had the liquor industry, we had the NGOs, we had government departments, we had everybody, we had, the Council of Churches, etc., to ensure that all of us come together and have a conversation and look into how we can deal with this matter without necessarily pointing fingers at each other.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for speaking to us, Mr. Msiya. And hopefully this spreads to other liquor boards in other provinces. And the National Liquor Board probably needs to support something like this, because we want to avoid a tragedy such as the one that we saw back in June at the eNCA Tavern.